Hello everyone, and welcome back to Hills and Hollers Homestead. I'm Mike, and yes, it's another car video because unfortunately I've got errands to run. I got a vehicle down and the feller's fixing it. I needed to go get more parts for it, so I'm on the run. That's one of the killers of having a full-time job and trying to live the lifestyle of a homesteader, because let me tell you something, a lot of your homesteader stuff gets put back on the back burner when life actually kind of steps up in real responsibilities. Not that any part of homesteading isn't responsible, it's all being responsible, but other things tend to jump in. So yesterday, the topic that we were covering yesterday, I'm going to stay off of that topic. What I want to do is I want to, since fear mongering seemed to be part of that, is I want to encourage everyone that I don't want you to prep in fear. I don't want you to go and buy food stores and prepping supplies fearfully. I want you to do it rationally, calm, and with a sense of purpose to have that peace of mind and security when something happens. Now, when something happens is, now, the time of year that we're in now, we're looking at, New England just got nailed with a nor'easter. So New England getting nailed with a near Easter, good Lord. There's people, there's flooding, there's record rains, there's power outages, there's this, there's that. That's exactly what I want to press for, the people prepare for. And they may be far and few between in your area, they may be commonplace in your area, and they may be seasonal. All I want you to do is, if you haven't been prepping and you want to start, I want you to start with 3 days worth of preps. 3 days. And then the next time you go to the store, get 3 more days worth of preps. And then the next time you go to the store, get 3 more days worth of preps. And you can do this relatively, I don't want to say cheap, because it's not that cheap anymore. But I want you to do it, to go in not thinking that you're going to be spending hundreds upon hundreds of dollars. You can go to Dollar General. You can go to Dollar Tree. You can go to Family Dollar. You can go to all these other places that, like the low-cost stuff, where they serve or they sell food and grocery items and stuff, and they actually have pretty decent preps in those places if you look around. Big Lots is another place. So be cheap, be frugal. You know what I mean? Save your money. You don't have to have the best name brand. You don't have to have the highest rated one. You don't have to have this. You don't have to have that. What you want to look for in your preps is 3 days for each person in the home. Not 3 days for the house, 3 days for each person in the home. So like I said before, FEMA recommend, now of course FEMA, that's an all-trusting agency, 1 gallon of water per person per day. And I'm going to go ahead and say 1.5 gallons of water per person per day in the house. And that way you've got extra, even if you're not drinking 1 gallon of water a day, you've got that little extra for sanitation, for bathing, for brushing your teeth, for, toiletry stuff, and even for cooking your food, because a lot of people's going to have a bunch of dry stores. And if you have to boil beans, or you have to, cook your pasta or your rice and stuff like that, you need that extra water. And you don't want to take away from your water ration, your consuming water ration for that. You want to have enough on hand to accommodate that as well. So that's why I said 1.5 gallons per person per day. Next thing is dry stores. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to focus on 2,000 calories per person per day. And this is why I'm saying that. You may not eat that now, but in the event of a weather-related event to where we are hunkered down in our homes, okay? You're in your home, you're sheltered from the outdoor weather, you're not getting rained on. I hope you're not getting rained on in your home. You're not getting rained on, you're not freezing to death, you're not doing this, you're not doing that. You don't need high calories. You need about 2,000 calories a day to stay safe. In the event that you would have to bug out, shag butt, get down the holla, get across the hill, over through the woods and whatever, and you're going to be out in the elements, yes, you need to almost double those calories each day. I'd want you having no less than 3,500 calories a day. And I want you to focus on protein, animal-based protein, and I want you to focus on fats, good fats. I don't want you to have a whole bunch of carbohydrates, like highly refined carbohydrates. And the reason for that is once you start eating that kind of stuff, if you get a little older and you've got like irritable bowel syndrome, You know, carbohydrates, a lot of carbohydrates are not good for you, especially refined carbohydrates. Some people do fine with them. If you're a diabetic, you got to stay away from a lot of the carbohydrates. Even if they're good complex carbs, whole grain, whole wheat, you got to stay away from them as much as possible. You can eat them, but eat them sparingly. That way, you know, I mean, if your blood sugars are going up high, you want to stay away from those kind of things. Because carbs equal sugar. I don't care. If it's spaghetti, if it's spaghetti noodles, spaghetti pasta, linguine, rotini, whatever, that is, when you eat that, your body converts those carbohydrates to sugar. Whether it be plant-based, vegetable, pasta, whatever, if you look at the carbohydrates, that's the only way they're going to get used by the body, is turned into sugar. So if you're diabetic, you know that's a problem from the get-go. In type 1, type 2, both. Yes, there is a difference. I'm well versed in that. Been doing it for a long time. Trust me when I tell you, carbs are the same no matter who's eating them. The body does not treat carbs differently unless you have something like irritable bowel or even a carbohydrates intolerance, which at 50 years old, as I started having symptoms a couple years ago and talked to my doctor, he's like, well, yeah, you knucklehead. He said, it's called irritable bowel syndrome. It's carbohydrate intolerance. And you have to get on to figure out what it is that's causing your problems. You do what's called a low FODMAP diet. You can look at FODMAP, FODMAP, or you can just do an elimination diet and go straight carnivore, which is what I did. And I did that for 10 days and felt like $100. So there's different ways. We'll get into that later. But anyways, I don't want you to be afraid. I don't want you to panic buy. I don't want you to panic store and prep. I want you to go in with confidence and look at your labels on the foods that you're getting. If you're buying canned meats or probably your most shelf stable, of course. Even if you're a healthy individual, I'm going to tell you to get the low sodium. Avoid the ones that are, high sodium. There's cans of potted meat that big. It's got a freaking 1,000 milligrams of sodium in it. You don't need that. You don't need that much salt. Salt's fine for you unless you have like congestive heart failure or other medical problems, like kidney problems and stuff. But for that matter, you don't need that much salt. And when I do cook, when we cook in the house, we don't add salt until afterwards. Salt's not added into cooking. Salt's added for taste afterwards. So, well, except for steak. I'll take that back. For steak, there's a little bit of salt put on it before it's thrown on the grill. But don't panic buy. Don't get in a rush. Sit down and look. Figure up 2,000 calories per person per day. Get online and look at the ads online and look up the food labels on this stuff before you go. Sit down and make you a list, or order it all online. Because I'm going to tell you what I found out, and what we found out in our household, is if we order stuff online and go pick it up at the grocery store, hey, we save not only time, but we save a bunch of money, because we're not buying everything that looks good. We're not walking by a bunch of stuff that we don't need, but hey, looks good. Or hey, we'll try this, or hey, we'll try that. And I'm not spending all that time in the grocery store. I'm popping online, knowing what I'm going to get, going over my list, got it, get it, good, ready to go. So anyways, 3 days. Each time you go to the store, research, see what you got available to you in your local area, see what the food labels are. 2,000 calories per person per day. That's bugging in, hunkering down in your own home. Otherwise, 3 days at a time and build your stores. Rotate your stock. Put your newest to the front, or you put your newest to the back, your oldest to the front, and keep rotating it like that. Use your stores and replace them as you use them. All right, guys, I'm done for the day. I got to get in here, get these parts in here so I get my daggone truck back on the road. Thank you for visiting the channel. Please give us a thumbs up, like our channel, subscribe to our channel, leave us a comment, tell us what you think. Sorry for the rush, guys. Life's beating on my door.